Well, our second battleground is ready as we will continue this series, and we will see Team Freedom still going to have that map pick. They elected for that. When you lose, you get the pick, and they are going to take them to Tomb of the Spider Queen here. Another small battleground for them to find those skirmishes on.
Taking Dignitas to Tomb of the Spider Queen is a bold move, in fact, but of course, I actually think that this is something that Freedom is pretty comfortable on as well, but it's Dignitas. They have so many different styles of drafts on this map. They're terrifying in the rotate. Their early game is always so strong. They get first turn-ins so frequently. This is something that Team Freedom do need to be cautious of. I wonder if they're going to look to change up the strategy similar to what we just saw in the Dragonshire, top lane focus instead. There isn't a whole lot you can do when it comes to macro and changing it up like that in the early game on this map in particular, just because of the size of it, but I wonder if there's still just something that Team Freedom has that we're not expecting.
Tetra, being from EU, if I told you there's 2 Chromia maps, what would they be?
That would be this one.
And Dragonshire.
Dragonshire, maybe a little bit of Volsky because you got everyone in the same place as well. But either way, I completely agree with you. This is a fantastic map for Poik if they want to pick that up. But it's also, as every map, a fantastic map for Urel. So we're going to see Freedom continuing to ban that away. So far, mirror drafts to last time. Let's see if we get that Maiev ban and Dignitas continue down the exact same route.
So one concern of mine throughout this series is if Team Freedom elects to run a hammer composition. I don't think this is the sort of map or the style where they will, but Dignitas is a team that's very familiar with playing against that. We're seeing the Maiev banned. Again, Medivh, Maiev, neither of which allowed to play here. 12 bans on Maiev prior, 18 bans on Medivh. Nobody wants to play against these heroes.
Up to 20 now on the Medivh after just these 2 games so far. Maiev jumping up as well. So now then, very similar to bans to last time, only just with a slight swap on the second bans. So let's see, first pick, starting with Johanna. They reacted with it last time. This time, Dignitas leading the charge with that safe tank pick, Johanna. And that baits out a Diablo hit.
This is a different style, North American flavor. Everybody loves the lightning breath into Salvo. That's what their bread and butter is. Potentially the Thrall in the later part of the game as well. But the threat of Chromie, I think, will be real in the later part of this draft. It might warrant a second ban, and that might be exactly the style that Dignitas is trying to force out. Say, go ahead and ban it. We've got something else up our sleeves.
Deckard Cain available for Team Dignitas. You already have the rotate warrior there in the Johanna. Very survivable, very powerful. There's the hammer instead. Dignitas bringing that the siege tank to Team Freedom this time.
So for Team Freedom, they're going to have to develop a strategy around this to counter that Sergeant Hammer. Obviously, we know Deckard does really well, has a nice, easy, slow target to hit with those potions. Kali, you got some thoughts on this?
So we've seen Sergeant Hammer be successful so far in this tournament when Medivh is available, or Blaze. Right now, Team Freedom need to make sure that they get themselves a Blaze, because Team Dignitas don't have that Blaze locked in. You usually want one of either Medivh or the Blaze to protect the Hammer in addition to the Deckard Cain. I wonder if that's going to be something that's available for Team Dignitas, because when those heroes aren't there to supplement the Sergeant Hammer, we find problems.
So this phase, Dignitas have played Sergeant Hammer 4 times, and they have a 100% win rate on it. And this is one of the heroes that could have maybe changed that, the Chromie. We talk about it so much this tournament, how Chromie can be one of those really solid counters to Hammer. She's so immobile, even with Hover Siege. And with, if you want to go for Mobius Loop, you can get more consistent harass. If not, then the burst can be incredibly effective. So we're seeing that Blaze, like you called. They're removing some counters, but the Blaze can give them at least a little bit of an extra frontline to push in with.
And that also gives context to the Leoric ban as well. They wanted the Blaze, so they're like, hey, we're going to remove the hero pool of Wubby even further. However, Dahaka is available, so still some solo lane pickups here for Team Dignitas. You know, I don't even think you can see the likes of something like Zeratul here on this map, but we will find out. Dignitas looking to lock in their last 2 picks. What's it going to be?
They need a solo laner. There is that Dahaka, and they bring out the Reina. Very auto-attack focused here coming in from Dignitas. So you start to look at what solo laners could maybe deal with that, and when you start thinking, they're all sort of out of meta. If you go for blinds, we're looking at Artanis, who's going to struggle. If you look at the attack speed slows, you're looking at Arthas, who's going to struggle to even get to the hammer and is also out of the meta. We're going to stick with extra range. I'm sorry, they already have a solo laner. I went completely off there, so Cassio could have been the the extra range damage option, but they're sticking with Poke, trying to burn down that immobile Sergeant Hammer instead, in the same method you would with a Chromie.
That's kind of what I was thinking as well. Perhaps maybe the Cassia would show up there, but this final pickup, I think it's going to be better than we normally see circumstances for Gul'dan. A lot of the times when you're playing against Dive and you have the Gul'dan, it can be very problematic. He's a very low mobility mage. He's not very survivable in most situations, but you're against a Raynor and a Sergeant Hammer, so you should be okay with the Gul'dan. Lots of wave clear as well.
It seems like when we get in these situations, Gul'dan goes into the extra Fell Flame range at level 1, which requires you to hit multiple targets to get that extra range. He's only going to have one target most of the time to stack on. Maybe we'll see the corruption that requires you to move forward into that auto attack range from Sergeant Hammer. The Gul'dan has not done well as of late in our meta, and I'm surprised to see it here, but you start to look at all the other options. How can you go into Raynor? Obviously, that extra auto attack range he has in general, and Sergeant Hammer as well. There's only one way to find out, and that's to go into game number 2, as we're going to give it back over to Trixler and Caldor as we get ready here on Tomb of the Spider Queen.
I actually really enjoy what Team Freedom has here, but I gotta say, a lot of teams have mastered this Sergeant Hammer strategy of just hanging back and not getting caught out.
I was actually at first really surprised. Well, not surprised, but again, they picked Tomb. And normally before the tournament, you would have really thought, okay, these kids are crazy, but they have played Tomb now several times against Europe, and they are looking fantastic there. I can't wait to see if they can actually pull this one off. But a lot of auto attacks for Dignitas coming.
Yeah.
Hammer and Jimmy.
I'm just more interested that old man Caldor over here saying that these kids are getting crazy. Look at you, man, showing your age here as we head into game number 2. Tomb of the Spider Queen. We're going to see if Team Freedom can secure a win against Team Dignitas. Here on the left side, Poik playing Hammer, Zelly on Deckard, Snitch on Raynor, Wubby on Dahaka, JPL on Johanna. It is Team Dignitas.
And after a fantastic game 1, we have on the right side North American Hope with Yoda on a Phoenix. Nazmas, of course, finds himself on Blaze once again. Zagrag leading the charge with Diablo. Lutano, on the other hand, on Gul'dan and Collusion on Malfurion. Ladies and gentlemen, Team Freedom!
When you look at the battleground in a vacuum, Team Freedom has a very strong composition. You have Gul'dan that scales in the late game, you have wave clear out the rear. This is a really solid setup.
Ken, let's talk about Dignitas for a second here. First pick Johanna. We came into this tournament and everyone's talking about Diablo, everyone's talking about Murden, and especially when you look at Tomb of the Spider Queen, Diablo is one of those top picks that you normally try to secure for yourself. He got banned out so many times this weekend, but Dignitas goes into a very, very different setup, trying to get the wave clear on Johanna, trying to eliminate a blind option since they're heading into 2 auto attackers. Very interesting Tomb draft on their end.
And to be fair, I believe it's reflecting also their drafts. Game number 1, we got a Chromie. Johanna does a great job of really fixing the problems that Chromie has. No major wave clear, you want to protect her. And the same can be said here for Sergeant Hammer.
Yeah.
Johanna is good at just holding her ground.
And talking about holding the ground here, Dignitas moving in deep to put some pressure onto Lutano with his Gul'dan. Second time this tournament that we've seen Gul'dan. Liquid played the hero on Tomb once, were not really successful with it, and stated later that it was also not really a pick that they personally expected. They were a bit put into a bit of an awkward position there. But let's see what Lutano can pull off with his Echoed Corruption on level 1.
I mean, Gul'dan makes sense against Sergeant Hammer compositions if someone on the opposing team does overstep. Maybe you have Johanna not have her Iron Skin up. Hang on, though. A big scroll comes out. Malfurion oversteps. He gets dragged into a combo, and he'll be taken out.
Great combo with a Condemn straight into Deckard. Kane with a seal here, locking the support down. And that's actually going to be a big, big problem for Malfurion throughout the entire game if he doesn't stay far in the back. And that's exactly where you need to see Collusion in these fights, or JPL is going to punish him together with Wubby.
Sergeant Hammer taking some damage in the top left, should be able to get away, but revisiting the point I was trying to make earlier, whenever you have a Sergeant Hammer composition, every single piece of positioning matters. And if you can have Gul'dan with a Horrify, be able to put somebody out of position or have them walk into you, that can be a valuable tool. Not many heroics actually give you that ability to really force someone to come your way. I mean, you have things like Mind Control, but then we're suddenly talking about things that are anti-meta.
I mean, there's also another couple of combos coming into play here that are super important. We talk oftentimes about the Lightning Breath into the Salvo from Phoenix, just getting that extra damage through the slows that Diablo provides. But if you can follow that up with the Echoed Corruption, you have so much more kill potential. Talking about kill potential, Zagrag finds himself in a bit of a pickle here, but Nazmas continues the performance from game number 1 when he had so many jet propulsions to save allies when they are in a bit of a tough situation.
I think it really shows that Nazmas and Zagrag are really on the same page when that comes to that front line. Drag again, as Wubby just continues to land that tongue. as he finds another pick, and that's going to be some gems lost for Team Freedom.
That's actually a huge problem for them right now. They lost a massive amount here in that early stage of the game. The rotation anticipated and then immediately capitalizing it, waiting for Phoenix in the bushes. The drag comes in and then the interrupt on the wall. And we have things going south here for Team Freedom as they again at the top lane. There's huge pressure on Lutano with Poik taking the position, Snitch on the turn-in. They're trying to get the first sweep we were waiting.
Team Freedom's got to relax a little bit. They have a composition that actually excels past level 10. They scale up really, really well here. But them losing some picks here and there and losing some gems is going to start hurting them if they lose more.
One of the things that's definitely good for them is that Lutano is doing really well on Gul'dan here now. 20 stacks already on the Echo Corruption. 3.5 minutes into the game. Once he completes that, they're going to be in a fantastic spot to get even more damage out. So that is something that they can rely upon. It also will help them to clear the waves. But right now, Dignitas is looking to snowball this a bit. They have the first objective.
They have some first objective, and they have a Sergeant Hammer. If they can sneak their way into the lane that they want to control, they can really put the hurt on Team Freedom. And you already see Sergeant Hammer in the bottom lane, starting to clear up those minions, while the rest of Dignitas is pushing out lanes. Wubby's in the top, has that Brush Sucker if he needs to back away. All he has to do is not get caught as Team Freedom looks for a pick.
And keep in mind, this is Freedom's map choice. They were pushing Dignitas to play here. They go up against the best European team on a home turf, and now they have to face the music. Already Webweavers pushing in here. The defense settled in the middle and at the top. Free push at the bot lane for Poik on Sergeant Hammer.
Blaze is heading down there to deal with that, but there's also a massive push in the middle with Jimmy backing up the push here, inspiring his teammates and looking to get damage on that turret wall. And this Webweaver is still pretty darn healthy. They can get the well and probably some damage on the fort.
At this point, you want a snowball experience. You want to make sure you get that second turn in. JPL is pushed in, but immediately the Iron Skin comes out as he moves past. Massive damage already done to Team Freedom here, losing all the front towers. And it's even a fort the Dignitas is now aiming for here at the bottom of the map.
Get it down to half health. They'll take that exchange. Team Freedom has their own turn-in available now. They've collected enough gems despite losing some earlier on. Team Dignitas will be working for their second turn-in, but they can also focus on the mercenary camps. Giants have that pushing on the bottom lane. Their opponents will probably grab their Night Camps in too. They can go ahead and focus on clearing that out, and they have the tools to clear it up too. They have Johanna obviously on the front line, and then you have that double auto attack in the back. Night Camp should be done quick.
It's a bit of a tricky spot for Freedom. They need to react to the bottom push. It's a massive one. There's 3 heroes here already, 4 with Poik, and of course those Siege Giants as well. If they can take that fort down, then all of a sudden we are going to see Dignitas in a position where they are taking another massive lead in experience, and that just propels you forward towards level 10. And that's really what Freedom has to avoid here right now. They can't fall off against an opponent who has level 10 available already and then can go for the second turn in. That's when things can really get out of hand.
Yeah. At the same time, they want to drop off their gems, but they have to be careful not to lose too much. They've already lost 25 on the field here in the map. They have 40 available to them. They would love to grab that turn in, but having to defend against your opponent pushing into you makes that a difficult task. I like them moving for the Night Camp, though, and that should force their opponents to maybe peel back and play a little bit defensive, which gives them time to find the moment to drop off those gems.
Yeah, for me, the problem is really all around that fort, though, because taking the turrets down after we've seen the experience changes coming into the play is not really the biggest problem. A lot of the XP is now on the fort itself, so if that falls, that lead in experience can really help Dignitas. And if they take it now quickly, they should be able to just rotate into the mid lane time to deal with the Night Camp that you mentioned. And once that's pushed out, I think a turn is going to be pretty difficult for Freedom at this point.
Yeah, one thing that Dignitas has to be careful of, though, is if they do open the map pretty early here and they start taking down forts, and you get into situations where Sergeant Hammer's trying to set up and force the issue, you do open yourself up to flanks. And we've seen that happen already for Team Freedom. They are willing to bring that aggressive fight and try to find a pick. So as long as they're wary about that, Dignitas should have a commanding lead, and it's something they're used to having, especially on Tomb of the Spider Queen.
It's just the interrupts that really worry me a bit, because we have Degard Kane, who's great for the interruptions. We have, of course, the excellent range here also for Sergeant Hammer in siege mode. You have at the same time the flashlight on Johanna.
Yeah.
So getting the turn-ins is a little bit tricky. Lutano has also slowed down in the stacking process a bit. He found himself at 3.5 minutes into the game. Right now we're seeing him at 24. They're just not fighting those team fights where everyone stacks up and where he can get them pretty easily. And that can become a little bit of an issue if Dignitas pushes through, because they need that wave clear, especially if Dig accomplishes a second turn-in. The problem really is, with a second turn-in, you are looking for forts again.
Yes.
The walls are already gone. So that would be the next target of Dig. And if they can get that, then Freedom would fall far behind and might never recover in that.
I mean, at that point, it becomes a domino effect, right? With that 4 being taken down, suddenly it becomes keeps, and it's like, hey, how do we get back in the game here? You're going to have to find those money horrifies, which you know Dig is going to be trying to make sure you don't get the 2 to 3 hit. It's going to be a bit of a difficult task here for Team Freedom, but if they're going to dig deep and get back in the game, they got to start doing it now. My question is, what do you want to see at level 10 here for Sergeant Hammer? Do we want to go for a blow-up and try to take someone out like Gold Dan, who's sitting still and doing Drain Life, or that poke from afar that we've been seeing actually mixed in, especially on BOE?
I think a little bit of burst damage would really be good if they can set the Blessed Shield up again into the Hakatung. And that's something that they used already on the last map. Their front line is actually identical. And they had so many good CC chains. So when they can use that and then just get that extra burst through Hamas level 10, I feel they can get these easy kills. Especially if they are at any point able to jump onto Yoda with a Phoenix or maybe Lutano and Gul'dan. So that's what I personally would like to see. I think they have already enough wave clear as is, so I don't really see the need for them to head into anything else. For me, it's outside of their level 10, it's really one of those things where I feel if Freedom can hold on to 10, their entire combo comes online.
Yes.
Right now, they really struggle to find opportunities to put pressure onto Dignitas, but I think that's all going to change once they have heroic abilities and find that synergy between Diablo and Phoenix, when they have Gul'dan also then with a Horrify that you pointed out several times. So that's something that they need to aim for here. But it's going to be tricky because Dignitas is already so far ahead in XP.
Yeah, the timings are just lining up perfect for Dignitas. They cleared up the fort in the bottom, they got that big jump in experience, they gave them time to rotate the middle lane, clear out the night camp, which is like, hey, here's more experience coming our way as they build towards that level 10, and with them only needing a good 7 gems to turn in for the second point of the game, they'll be able to hit that with a level 10.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was worried about. Taking that fort down at the bot lane just gave them so much. Now you see the early level 10, and as you said, it coincides perfectly with them having the amount of gems they need for another turn in. So Freedom finds themselves in that awkward spot where they try to interrupt, but if they go a little bit too far in, they can be engaged upon, especially now that we have Blessed Shield available.
I'm watching Dahaka. He'll be the one to indicate if Dignitas is going to force this fight. They should be able to rotate from the bottom lane and come in and look for a drag. Still a half a level for Team Freedom before they hit 10.
We actually have Napalm Strike taken on level 10 now for Hammer, so they are going into even more wave clear. And they have their turn in. There it is. Freedom realizes, boys, we can't really push in too deep to try and interrupt here. Let's try and stall it out slightly so that we have our own heroics for the defense. But they're already late, and Poik is moving in, and that extra wave clear helps him now with the structural damage that comes through the Napalm Strike to take this fort down super early before the Web Weavers are even there.
I mean, the heroics in general actually just kind of bolster out this Web Weaver push. You even have Hyperion coming online at level 10 for Raynor. If they decide they want to just focus down one lane, drop the Hyperion, and just move straight in with the Napalm Strikes, and that structure is gone.
And another thing that we have to point out is the Lornado here. It was used so many times in the past to just create kill opportunities. And if you're up against a Phoenix that wants to warp out, if you time that properly, you can interrupt the warp, you push him in, and that's nearly a confirmed kill there. And the save potential from Alfurion is limited when that burst damage comes in.
Team Freedom is really trying to set up these flanks. They have Diablo above Sergeant Hammer, but Dignitas, fully aware of it, pulls away, runs to the bottom lane instead, and continue to jump up in experience. The wall in the middle, completely gone. The wall in the bottom, taken away as well. A team at Dignitas has a substantial lead. Team Freedom's trying to close the gap, though, as Diablo moves on in.
Yeah, Diablo with a lightning breath, and already we're seeing the bunker on the ground. Lornado is in, but Dignitas is moving away from now. This is a situation where they don't even have to fight. You're so far ahead already. You took down 2 forts, you have a 2-level lead over your opponent, and you are closing in on level 13. Right now, you don't have to fight. You can just move away from this and say, boys, why would we walk into your combo, into the Horrify? Let's wait for 13, and then we are happy to take any fight you want to give us.
This is the part where Dignitas just reacts. What is Team Freedom trying to do? Are they going for a turn-in? Let's grab Giants, have that pushing in the bottom lane, poke where we can to delay that turn-in. If they do grab it, we can grab our Night Camp on the left side and have an easy defense.
The Haka is at the bot lane. He's going for the Siege Giant camp. Yes, the rest of the team is going for the interrupts. Freedom needs to push this, and they're trying to do exactly that. They're going for Johanna here. JPL needs to be careful, but he still has the Iron Skin up. The lockdown attempt through collusion did not quite work out here, and now there's Siege Giants pushing at that bot lane, and that is a problem. Freedom will have to react to it. They are up against an opponent who just grabbed level 13. The chances of them turning gems in have really been diminished now.
The cards are stacked against Team Freedom right now, that's for sure. They're behind the talent. Giants pushing in. They have to play safe. They send gold in the bottom lane. That will help out with that wave clear, but not having gold in the rotation means that you can't force a fight. Diablo has to play safe and timid until then. Things to know is that we do have the level 1 corruption done for Gul'dan, so that's going to be helpful, especially when we get to level 16. And he has that Ruinous Affliction mixed with him. And then, of course, Zugrug has finished that Devil's Due.
Yeah, we have also a grilling kill on level 7 for Blaze completed now. So when it comes to quest talents, Freedom is looking good here. They want that level 13, and then they're looking again for the combo. They have the potential for these team fights. It's not like they have no teeth here. They can really go in and maybe get a kill. Remember the last game, they got an entire quad kill, and that brought them back into the game. And we know that this is a map where there's a lot of snowball potential. And when you're far behind like this, there's a lot of structures available that once you take them down, give you experience. And that's something that they're looking for. But Dignitas is, of course, well versed in how to play this map. And they are running with their advantage. They go for the boss now. And Freedom will not be able to do anything about it.
No, they will not. Now, just thinking about it, though. He goes in, he gets denied completely on the tornado. The thing is, he has 40 gems. He cannot get caught out. Blessed Shield comes over. It's Malfurion 2. There's a Condemn. Now, just trying to get away, but he's locked down.
Worst case scenario, are they still gonna fight? They're trying. The Lightning Breath comes out and the Salvo is hitting too. Poik is moving away here. We're seeing at the same time the boss already marching through. Freedom not losing anyone here yet, but they're trying to walk back, and Zagrag is already stopped and locked down. They want to kill, and he himself holds 30 gems. They can't lose them.
Daru at the same time, pushing everyone in. Now this is Zagrag here on the back left, and if he dies, he loses the souls, and there they are. We got a squishy Diablo here. Nazmus also locked down too, while JPL steps up.
Gems.
There's the track. 60 gems may have been lost. Team Freedom cannot step up to get them, and that's their comeback mechanic.
Freedom definitely just with a massive throw. Definitely a call under pressure here that they did not want to make. If they had a few more seconds to think about this, they would have walked away from it. I'm 100% certain about that. They lacked the level 13 talent. Dignitas was nearly done with the boss, and they walked straight in. Blaze trying to buy some time, and that did not work out. Now they lost they lost an insane amount here. 60 gems plus lost on the side of Freedom, and that means that Dignitas is now in a perfect spot here. Their own turn and about to happen again. 16 on the horizon, a 3-level lead. They are in a dominant position now to make this a 2-0 lead in the series.
Wubby gets thrown on top of Yoda. He goes over to the side. He has a Brush Stalker as well. Will actually just jump a couple meters away over to his teammate. Wubby has a drag available.
The Dignitas spray sold it.
Yeah. We went for the big move, coming over here on the side, and a slight juke. Team Dignitas steps forward, drops a spray, and takes away the Night Camp.
At this point, Freedom is just desperately looking for any kind of kill opportunity. Maybe through Gul'dan, maybe Lutano has the play that brings them back here. They need to defend, but the Web Weavers are coming down, and Poik is already sieging forward with Sergeant Hammer as we see the Night Camp pushing into the keep in the mid lane here. Freedom trying to hold on in game number 2. It's a tough defense, but maybe they can pull it off.
This is going to be a zoinks from me, Caldor, as Team Dignitas pushes in the middle. It's down to a quarter. You have Wubby already on the bottom lane getting that pushing in too. There is a worry that Team Freedom could lose 2 keeps here, if not the game, if they get picked. And by picks, I mean Yoda. He gets taken out in the bottom right corner. Wubby on the side also working those auto techs for another drag.
Phoenix is done. Nazmas is in a bit of trouble. The isolation is hitting Zagrag here as we see they keep starting to fall here. The middle already eliminated and still a 3-level lead. The drag comes in. They're going for Diablo. They get the kill. A lot of Terror is down, and the bot lane keep is gonna follow soon.
Sergeant Hammer is slowly running over Team Freedom, sieging away while Wubby just lands tongue after tongue after tongue. It's almost magnetic. Nazmus gets caught with a bunker, tries to jump pushing away. He will be able to retreat. Just kidding. Wubby's got a tongue again, 4 in a row as they look at the core.
I think he has a contractual bonus from Dignitas where he gets, like, every single time he hits one, he gets some extra money here, and he should. He is absolutely insane with these skill shots at this point. Freedom is going down as Dignitas takes down the core and takes the 2-0 lead in this series.
A difficult matchup for Team Freedom there. Going to Tuma Spider Queen, Europe known as Battleground. They've had success in this tournament on Tuma Spider Queen, but falling behind against a Sergeant Hammer composition just hurt too much. And then the play on the boss, optimistic to say the least, attempting to take it away.
We've seen so many comebacks on this map in the late game after you've just taken a beating for 10, 15 minutes, but it only is possible if you keep these gems and them going for boss with a talent disadvantage, with leading the charge just with 1 hero and allowing Dignitas to force heroic abilities this early. As you said, it was pretty optimistic, and that's where everything just fell apart. Them moving back, accepting the cross is taken, trying to muster the defense at the keep might have given them an opportunity to go for a turn in and win a team fight around it, take a few structures, get the XP. Didn't happen. Dignitas just too experienced to let it happen here and capitalizing on Freedom's mistakes.
Well, Dignitas goes up 2-0. Let's go back over to the desk to get their thoughts on the match.
Dignitas strong in the second game. 4-level lead at the end of that. Wubby just went off those digs were incredible when you go right on the other side. But no, those are plays being made by everybody on this. You came by talking about Xaylia. That right there was Dignitas at their best on a Battleground Tetra. They haven't played a lot of this phase, but they still show they're strong.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking earlier when we were looking at the stats, and we keep talking about this map being Dignitas' home ground, but the fact is, it's their second lowest win rate map because they've played on it 3 times and lost once. But that's the fact they've only lost 2 maps this entire phase. So that's a very low sample size. So it doesn't actually mean that much.
Well, Kala, you said Xaylia was a god to me before we came back on stage. There were so many plays being made by everybody on Dignitas. You got more for us?
I've got a replay for Xaylia, that's for sure. He was just an absolute playmaker, and his play alone set up the victory for Team Dignitas in a commanding lead. We saw like a 3-level lead at the very end there. But yeah, we definitely do have a replay to have a look at. Xaylia, fantastic player. If we have a look right here, Team Freedom, they're in a situation where they're down a talent tier. We see the level 12 right here. Considering the map, Dahaka is bottom side for Team Dignitas and can look to come up. Team Dignitas also have pressure in the mid lane right now. The rest of Team Freedom is represented a little bit far away. Nasmus, 42 gems sitting here on the Blaze, and as we move forward, he starts to come in and he looks for a jet propulsion into this area because he wants to try to secure the boss. This is Team Freedom feeling stressed out. They need to make a play. They're so far behind, but they have so many resources. That's the biggest problem, and watch what happens with the Deckard Cain. The play is absolutely fantastic. He drops the Lornado there to interrupt the jet propulsion. Complete free boss for Team Dignitas, and the reason why this is so huge, Nasmus off the chase from Team Dignitas ends up losing all 42 gems. In the next 3 minutes of game time, Team Dignitas closed this game out off of this single play. Absolutely fantastic setup by Deckard Cain.
Showing that Dignitas can play any and all strategies available to them. They can play the hammer, they can play the Chromie, it doesn't matter. How do you get onto this backline? It's a problem that we're gonna have to see Team Freedom figure out, because we will be coming back to a game number 3 in this best of 5, but we are gonna see if Dignitas can close it out, secure their spot in the grand finals, and whether Team Freedom has more fight in them. We'll be back soon, don't go anywhere.